So this morning, while I was doing my personal routine, what I do in the morning is I get up early before I have to get my kids up for school, and I like to sit down with myself doing various different things. I like to journal in the morning. I like to just take a few minutes to myself just to clear my thoughts. Sometimes I'll meditate early in the morning. This morning I did get up a little bit later than usual. And I also have a tendency of I'll take like 5 to 10 minutes just to kind of scroll social media, just to kind of catch up on little, pop-ups that comes up on my phone in the middle of the night. So I usually like to do that in the morning before I have to get up and deal with the kids. But this morning, something really caught my attention. I saw a post about setting boundaries, about personal growth, about self-discovery, and it was a combination of multiple things into one post. And I thought it would be a good idea to come in here, not only to share my perspective on it, but also to kind of give you permission, because sometimes we need to hear from other people that it's okay to do certain things for ourselves, especially when we're struggling. And as we are in the middle of the holiday season right now, I know there's a lot of people that are struggling. They are self-doubting themselves. They are trying to fit into a mold, especially with families, and accommodate everybody, but they're not truly thinking about themselves. They're not truly thinking about what it is that they want for themselves. And this is why I thought it was important to make this video this morning. I thought about myself a few years back and how I had a difficult time saying no. As by nature, I am a people pleaser. I tend to want to make sure that everybody else is okay, but never including myself in that equation. I always want to make sure that I'm participating. I am part of everything. I am making sure that everybody is okay and make sure that everybody is happy with whatever they're doing. But for a long time, I never included me, what it is that I wanted, what it is that I strived to get, what it is that I wanted to get out of the situation. And at many times, it was just simply saying no to an event, saying no to family, saying no to participating for the holidays, saying no to just not wanting to be in the presence of someone. And it was difficult for me for a long time because growing up, I wasn't allowed to say no. Growing up, I had to always do what I was told to do. And that is something that I had to relearn. I had to teach myself. And I taught myself this through my process of self-discovery. And it's a barrier that we put up, and it's so automatic that we find every excuse in the book but to say no. And no should be the first words that come out of our mouth, regardless of what the situation is. You can always say no and retract. It's easier than it is for you to make plans and then all of a sudden you retract and say no, okay? So one of the things that I thought back when I was doing my own personal deep dive, right, into my past, into why I wouldn't say no, into why I didn't say no. And I came up with certain situations, especially around the holiday. And this is why this post actually triggered me, is there were events and sometimes I would be home. I used to live on my own. And there would be events that I would be invited to. And I knew deep down, I did not want to be there. But I also didn't want to be home alone because at that time, I had not figured out that being alone was part of my self-discovery. Being alone was giving me the time to think of the things that I did not want. And that scared me. And that was also part of my self-discovery, is to be scared, to do it scared, to be alone on your own. So there was a particular holiday, and it was Christmas. I was invited to a group of friends' house. Everybody was getting together. It was like a friend Christmas kind of situation. We had just had something similar for Thanksgiving where everybody got together. And during this Thanksgiving dinner, I remember sitting in that room at that table and saying to myself, what the heck am I doing here? Why am I here? I am uncomfortable. But at the same time, I never stopped to think about what made me uncomfortable. Why was I putting myself in that situation? And the simple answer was because I didn't say no. And just to give you a little background, this group of friends, they were doing a lot of things for show. And it was more so of who can provide me with the most is who I want around. And that wasn't me. I've never been that kind of person where I felt the need to, in a way, use people to have a certain event, or let's just say a Instagram picture moment, okay? And I caught myself in that situation where I was always invited because I had something to offer, but I did not know then. But I knew at that moment, at that Thanksgiving dinner, that something made me uncomfortable. That was not my place, and I was not comfortable. And years later, when I did my own self-discovery, I realized that that particular moment, one, it was my fault that I was there, but I did not know better. And when you don't know, you don't do better, right? So that particular moment, I was there because I did not say no. I gave in to a situation, to an event that I thought I was doing good. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was being a friend. I thought that I would feel good being in that situation. And it turned out that I did not. But I also did not know how to get out of it. So I went along with it. And going along with it taught me that I did not have boundaries, right? So, and it wasn't until a few years after this incident that I learned that I personally was there by choice, but by making the choice of not saying no. Okay. So fast forward a few weeks, of course, Christmas comes right after. Similar situation. Hey, you're invited. This is what you're going to have to do. This is what we're doing. Always being told, right, what to do, how to do it, and not having autonomy over my own decisions. Almost like I was the puppet, right? And I was being mastermind. And that was only because I did not say no. So when I saw the post this morning, one of the things that I did realize is, one is how far I've come, right? The work I've done to put in, because my initial response every time something goes on is, nope, I will have to see if I can make it. Nope, not going to be able to do it. Nope, I'm not giving you a yes right now. And I had to learn that. I had to learn to say that. Now I can say it without a problem, but it's a process. And if you are in that situation where you find yourself not being able to say no, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you're not able to say no. And it's okay that whenever someone asks you for something, or somebody invite you somewhere, or they automatically assume that you're going to be a participant, you're going to be involved, it's okay to say, I need a few days to think about it. I just can't give you that answer right now. It's okay to just not give in to that particular moment in time of that expectation of somebody else, that expectation that someone else puts on you. It's okay to take the time to think of why certain situation makes you feel uncomfortable, okay? That is learning boundaries. And that is boundaries that you have to set for yourself. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. And people like myself that were people pleasers, right? They have a hard time separating what it is that they like, that they want, versus being complacent or doing something that they do not want because it's expected. So what I want you to think about is, what boundaries do you want to set for yourself? And start with this holiday season, because this is the best time to start putting boundaries on yourself and on others, because it gives you the opportunity to practice. So for example, with Christmas or any other holidays that you celebrate that is coming up, I want you to think about, do you want to participate? Do you want to be around certain people? Do you want to give in? Do you want to cook? Do you want to, whatever it is, right? That you are being told that you are expected to do, or that you're being told to do. Do you want to do it? Do you want to participate? Do you want to be involved? Ask yourself within, and don't expect anybody else's answer to match yours, because people's expectation of what they want for you is different than what you want for yourself. And that is where you need to start thinking for you. Okay, so right now during this holiday season, I want you to start practicing for yourself. And I want you to know that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to say no. It's okay to set that boundary, because you doing this for yourself will only make you happy, will only bring you joy. And it might not feel this way immediately, but it will eventually, because once that holiday season is over, once that date that comes that is expected of you is over and passes, it's almost like a weight off your shoulders. And you're going to look back and you're going to say to yourself, I'm glad I didn't go. I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm glad I said no. I'm glad I didn't participate. Because when you do something that you don't want to do, and you know deep inside you don't want to do it, but you're doing it because it's expected of you, because you're told to do it, you're going to actually hate yourself. You're going to be angry with yourself. You're going to say to yourself, why did I do this? I didn't want to do it. Why did I do it? And having that feeling afterwards is worse than saying no to begin with. Because once you say no, everybody else is going to get mad at you. Be prepared. Once you say no, people are going to be shocked. Like, oh, no, she or he did not say that to me. Once you say no, it's a boundary that you're setting, that you're not going to allow somebody to dictate what it is that you want, or how you want it, when you want it. So commit to yourself. Do what you want to do. Sit down with yourself and write down what it is that you want. So you haven't, from now until the holidays, right? To when you have to this event, for example, or you have from now until somebody asks you for something else. And I want you to sit down and prepare yourself, because once we're prepared, everything is off the table, right? So I want you to predict what's going to happen. So let's say there's with Christmas, for example, we'll use Christmas as an example. You know you're going to be invited for that family event. You know you're expected to be there at the family event. But deep down inside, you don't want to go because of whatever reason. Somebody that's going to be there that you don't care to be around, or you just don't want to cook. You don't want to be bothered cooking and bringing anything to this event. Or it could be anything. You just don't have the funds to be able to participate in a Christmas event with family and friends. Okay? So I want you to now sit down with yourself and say, I'm going to be expected to do this in the next couple of weeks, but I don't want to do it. Or I'm going to do it differently, right? And it's okay to start traditions for yourself. I just want you to know that because traditions have been going on for so many years, things that have been expected of you for so many years, it's okay to start a tradition for yourself. And by starting that, it's saying no to other people. It's starting to put together a plan for you. And right now, I want you to put a plan for you together. Since you can predict and expect, right, what's going to be coming up in the next few weeks, I want you to sit down and say to yourself why you don't want to do it. How are you going to do it differently? And what you're going to say, okay? I want you to start practicing that, because once you practice and that expectation comes up, you're ready. You're ready to say no. You're ready to give your answer to whatever the question may be. You are ready to say, I'm going to be doing something differently. I want you to use this time for you to think about what it is that you want. I want you to set this time as your boundary. I want you to start right now, okay? And it is okay. And if that boundary includes not answering that phone, don't answer. Don't answer that text. Don't answer that phone call. You don't have to answer anybody right away. If you need to practice before you take that call, do so. If you see that phone call coming in and you know what it's going to be in regards to, do not answer that phone right at that moment. Take a few minutes, take a day, a week, whatever it is that you need. Take that time for yourself so you can think about what it is that you want to say. And I am telling you right now, if no is your answer, if I'm not going to be able to make it, you don't have to give an excuse. Just say, this is a choice I made. You do not have to provide an answer as to what you're doing. When you set your personal boundaries, you don't have to explain it to nobody else. That is your own boundary. That is your own feelings. That is your own life that you are learning to live. You're learning to take new steps. And I want you to think that, and I want you to remember this, okay? I want you to think very deeply that when you set boundaries for yourself, is not for anybody else but you. You're going to piss people off. People are going to be mad at you. But I want you to think about that it is for you and nobody else. When you set boundaries and when you say no, it is not to please somebody else. It is to please you yourself. And I want you to think about that this holiday season, okay? I want you to avoid that phone call that's going to stress you out. I want you to avoid going to that event that's not going to make you happy. I want you to know that by starting to say no, it's starting to say yes to you. And when you use the word no, is a yes that you give yourself. And when you think about what it is that you want, you don't need everybody else's opinion on what you want to do for yourself. You are an individual. You have autonomy over your body and your decisions and your mind. And I want you to know that it's okay. Because one of the things that I'll share with you is when I was going through therapy for learning how to stop being a people pleaser, learning how to deal with my past trauma, I actually needed, it wasn't almost, I needed that validation that it was okay for me to say no. Because for so long, I could never say no. For so long, I wasn't allowed. I mean, as kids, especially with family, and having been taught all your life that you cannot say no to your elders. You cannot say no to your mom and dad. You cannot say no to Uncle Joe or Aunt Mary. You cannot say no for whatever reason. I want you to feel validated when you say no. It is okay. This is your right. You have that right to say no so you can say yes to yourself. And when you are dealing with people that are insistent or persistent or that they don't know how to separate what they want putting onto you, it's okay to tell them back off and it's a no for me. It's okay to do it. I am validating you that if you say no to something you don't want to do, that it is okay. You are going to be okay. And I promise you that once everything is over and after you say no, you're going to feel better. You might not feel better right there and then because it takes work and it takes time for you to learn that no is a complete sentence, that no is your answer to saying yes to yourself. So if you're starting now, it might feel awkward. And I'm going to give you that honest answer that you are going to feel guilty. You're going to feel like you did something wrong, but you didn't. Okay? You did not. You did not do anything wrong. You are doing what is right for you. And you are doing something that's going to make you happy down the road. How many times I've said no that today I'm elated. I am glad I did not say yes to certain things. And I look back, and I even talk about this with some friends, that sometimes I look back and I'm like, I'm so happy I didn't participate in that. I'm so happy I said no. I'm so happy I stood my ground. And It took me a long time to get to that point where I snap a no like this. I snap a no in a click of a finger. And it's not that I don't care, it's that I care about myself. And it's not that I am not worried about what somebody else is saying, because I'm not. I am not concerned how that person is going to feel based on the question that they asked me and I said no. Because their expectation of what they want out of me is different than what I want for myself. It's different of the outcome that I want for an event. So learning to be on my own, learning to be by myself, learning to say no, learning to have boundaries, it was the best thing that happened. So when I saw this post this morning, as I mentioned earlier, it was like such a good feeling to see it, and seeing the response that people are putting down of, I'm learning to do this, or I am following through with this, I am keeping my word, I am doing this for me. It was amazing to see it, because I'm seeing so many transformation, especially for us women. We tend to be in situations that it's hard for us to say no. And especially as mom, as wife, as a daughter, it's hard for us to say no sometimes. But I can promise you that once you learn to say no the right way, once you learn to kibosh everything right at the beginning, to put an end to it before it starts, it will make you feel better. Because once in time you're dealing with a situation where you might say, okay, I'll do it, it's harder to take that no back. It's harder to say no to that situation, to take control of that situation. Now you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel forced to follow through with what you were promising you were going to do. So I'm telling you, it's easier to say no than say, listen, I thought about it. I'm going to step in and I'm going to come, or I'm going to help, or I'm going to participate, or I'm going to give it, or whatever the case may be, than it is for you to do the reverse of promising something and then saying, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay. And say no without apologizing. This is another thing I want you to learn. Say no without saying, I'm sorry. It's okay. You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to apologize. This is your no. You don't have to be sorry for saying no. You don't have to be sorry for not wanting to do something for yourself. This is your time to shine for you, nobody else. So on this note, I hope that you can start practicing right now. I hope that you can come upon an event today or situation today where you just say no, or I'm not going to give you an answer right now, or I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it. And please do not use the word I'm sorry, because the word I'm sorry is just validating that you're feeling guilty about giving this answer. So go out there, give your no, set your boundaries, don't answer that call, make a commitment, schedule yourself for what you want to do on your own time. And I'll see you on the next video.